All right, I've got a warning, folks. Today's video is not going to be that sexy. We're not going to talk about all the great things that Richmond has to offer or look at cool neighborhoods and beautiful houses. Nonetheless, this information in this video is very important to both buyers and sellers. As many of you have already heard, earlier in the year, the National Association of Realtors agreed to a settlement regarding various commission lawsuits. One of the main topics of these suits dealt with the transparency around how realtors get paid. The changes resulting from the settlement were enacted earlier this month, and there's been a lot of information, or in some cases disinformation, in the news and on social media about these changes. I'm going to cut through all that noise today the best I can and break down in easy to understand terms, definitely not legalese, how this settlement affects both buyers and sellers moving forward. If you like what you hear and you get some value out of this, then make sure you subscribe below and tap the notifications bell so you can be the first to know about what's going on in the Richmond real estate market. All of my contact info is also below if you want to have a conversation about how this may affect your plans over the next 6, 12, 18 months. So we're going to start this conversation on the seller side. I think it makes more sense to talk about the seller side first because what happens in the listing agreement kind of sets the table for how this affects the buyer side. So there are two major changes on the seller side. First, you no longer have to offer buyer's agent compensation to have your home listed in the MLS. Now, Joiner Fine Properties policy is we charge 3% to list your home, but what, if anything, you offer the buyer's agent is now completely up to you. It is our recommendation, though, that sellers still offer a buyer side commission, and here's why. The vast majority of other listings out there offer a buyer's agent co-brokered commission, so don't put your house at a disadvantage. When you allow the buyer to roll the agent commission into the purchase price of the home, it greatly reduces the amount of cash they are required to bring to the table. This is a fact. Buyers face a lot of upfront fees when purchasing a home, so a seller offering a co-brokered commission to the buyer's agent, the number of buyers that can afford your home now skyrockets. A buyer's co-brokered commission has always been a pre-negotiated seller concession, but ultimately the choice is yours on how to handle this. All decisions made on commissions will be documented in the listing agreement, so all parties are crystal clear on how they will be handled. Now, the second major change is co-brokered buyer's agent commissions are no longer offered through the MLS. This does not mean they went away or they don't exist. It simply means that offer of compensation cannot be advertised in the MLS listing. Now, our firm has developed systems to easily communicate cooperating compensation to buyer's agents when they want to show your home. Quickly getting them this information is of vital importance, and it's fairly easy to do, but it just takes us a few additional steps.
So I have created a very handy relocation guide that can save you hours of time and effort, and you can link to that right below. It's a must download, and I think you'll get some great information out of it.
All right, now let's look at how this affects buyers. On this side, there are also two major changes as well. Now, first, the buyer's broker agreement must be signed before showing potential buyers any homes. Now, prior to this change, often agents would show homes and then just sign the buyer broker agreement when they found the right home and a contract was written. This is no longer allowed. For buyers that are a bit nervous about signing an agreement with an agent that they may not know all that well just to see a property, know that there is some flexibility here. The buyer's agent agreement can be signed to be property specific, or it can be written for a short term like a day or a weekend, or even say like a month. So if you are comfortable with your agent though, I would recommend something a bit longer so you're not having to sign this form over and over and over again. That can get a little bit tedious. Now, second, the buyer-broker agreement now absolutely clearly establishes the commission that a buyer will pay their agent. The firm policy at Joiner is we charge 3% of the sales price to work with a buyer. Now, I know this may seem like a lot, but the buyer's agent does a ton of work for you. They help you find the right house, they negotiate a successful contract, get you through all of the contingencies like home inspection and appraisal, coordinate with the lender, the title company, the closing attorney, and much, much more. If you go straight to a listing agent with no representation to purchase a home, the listing agent cannot help you negotiate at all since they already work for the seller. Now, with the market softening and getting a little bit more favorable for a buyer's agent that is a strong negotiator can be worth every penny of that commission and then some. All right, now let's try to bring this all together in the context of a real life example if you're working with me as a buyer's client. So like I said above, joiner's fee is 3% for this service to work with you as a buyer. Since I know you are all paying attention to the selling portion that we went through above, you may be panicking since you learned earlier that sellers no longer have to pay a buyer's agent commission that is co-brokered through the listing agent. So if you're starting to sweat a bit and the question is, man, will I be on the hook for this 3%? It's time to relax and take a deep breath. The answer to this question is most likely no, and here is why. Like I also mentioned in the segment above, sellers are still offering a co-brokered commission in most cases. Since the commission is no longer published in the MLS, before we go see any home, I will reach out to the listing agent to find out if there's a buyer's agent commission offered so you can know prior to walking in the door of any home how much commission is being covered by the seller and how much you could potentially be responsible for. Now, in a perfect world, when I make that call to the listing agent, they'll be offering 3%. So this is not an issue whatsoever, and oftentimes this will be the case. There are 3% commissions out there. Problem solved. Issue is put to rest. But we all know the world is far from perfect. So let's say, for example, the seller is offering 2.5% to the buyer's agent as a co-brokered commission. Not all is lost. The contract we write, we can ask for that additional 0.5% to be paid directly by the seller. Now, this is a negotiated term of the contract, just like all of the other things we negotiate in the contract, like price, closing date, seller paid closing cost, inspection terms, just to name a few. Now again, perfect world scenario, the seller will agree to pay this 0.5% when the contract is presented, and I do think most sellers will agree to concessions like this. Again, problem solved, issue put to rest. But we know it's not a perfect world. So if the seller does not agree to pay that additional 0.5%, you have two options. The first is you would pay that other 0.5% at closing. This fee would go on your side of the settlement statement and increase the cash you have to bring to closing. Now, the second option is you can just walk away from that house and keep looking. This is 100% your choice. So we're kind of entering a brave new world in real estate, and these scenarios on commissions just are going to have to be dealt with on a house-by-house, case-by-case basis. Now, there's actually a third option, but we can kind of discuss that one in person.
And now for the question of the day. For those of you who are thinking about moving to the greater Richmond area, where are you moving from? And what is the main reason you're leaving your current city or your current state? I'm truly curious, so let me know down below. Make sure you leave your answer in the comments below because I do want to hear what you have to say. Also, if you have any questions or thoughts, you can leave those in the comments below, or better yet, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. My information should pop up on the screen.
I hope these scenarios made sense to you. With all of these significant changes, it is so important to work with an agent that understands this new landscape so they can help you explain the options. At Joiner Fine Properties, our broker has been absolutely on top of this and has provided their agents with ample training both in-house and through our local association. The attorney that works for the Richmond Association of Realtors and is teaching these classes let us know that approximately half of the agents in our association have not attended any of the provided training. That just blows my mind because these changes are pretty darn significant. So whether you're buying or selling, if you want to understand more about how these changes may affect you and your options that are available, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. All that information is linked in the description below. And until next time, I hope to show you around town. Take care, folks.